A while back, I ran a private workshop for our one on one clients, and it was really well received. In this replay, I'm going to show you how to create a mini workshop that's quick to build, fun to deliver, and actually gets you clients. Do know that this is raw and unedited, but trust me, it's worth the watch. Our clients were paying $10,000 just to learn these strategies. So go ahead, check it out. I've done lots of these, and actually where this kind of stems from and like why we wanted to create this training for ourselves but also for our clients is um, we work with a lot of experts who run out of time. And so, and us as well. The more we grow, the less time we have, right? The more clients we have to serve, the more there is to do. And so we got to get creative and got to develop new ways of doing more with less. Also, we've been diving into a little bit of human design work. If anybody's familiar with that, and understanding like different people have different, like, for example, Alexander's a projector. I'm a manifesting generator. We have different styles and different gas tanks and different ways that we would do things that give us energy and that drain our energy. And so it's part of why we talked, we did a meditation at the beginning is because like energy really matters, and being able to do things that light you up and that feels light. And by creating workshops, even just, the cool thing about this training is we literally do what we teach. And so look, how many people are we talking to today? 12, 14, something like that. We're able to just provide more value, build more intimacy, connection in less time. And so this is why we did it. I did this. This actually reminded me, I did a post a couple of weeks ago, and it was around an old mentor of mine, Bob Proctor. And it reminded me of the very first time that I did a live presentation, a group presentation. And I want to share this story with you because this actually fundamentally changed the way I thought about money forever. And so perhaps this idea, this workshop might inspire you and change the way that you think about money forever. And so I was in Bob Proctor's mastermind, and it was the first big expensive program I bought. I think it was like $15,000. I did not have $15,000. But it was, and I was in his program for 6 months. And I remember I was getting pretty pissed off at him and the program. I'm like, this isn't working. It's not working. And I brought it to the mastermind call, and he totally called me out. And he basically said like, well, are you carrying your goal card? And my goal card, no, but I'm doing all these other things and da-da-da. And he's like, well, you're not even doing the most simple thing that I asked you to do at the very beginning. So how are you telling me that the program isn't working if you're not actually doing it the way it's designed? And I was like, okay, touche, Bob. You got me there. And so I wrote out the card, and I remember that kind of, it's funny, like looking back when I'm young and know everything, and like the older I get, the less I know. But back then, I think my ways are better. It's just funny, right? And so anyways, I became coachable, and he was able to coach me. And part of the program was like running masterminds and putting on events. And at the end of his program, I did my very first event. This is a picture of me doing it in I'm a 21-year-old punk with a 3-piece suit who's totally broke, by the way. And but it was a really great event. We raised money for Big Brothers. I sold tickets. It was in Victoria, and we got 88 people into the room. And at the end of this presentation, we made an offer, and it was for a $400 program, like 3 months, $400, and it was a mastermind teaching Bob's materials. And I did this event, and 44, so like exactly 50%, or 40 people opted into this offer, and I made $16,000 in one night. And that changed the way I thought about money forever. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can put on one event and generate $16,000. And I realized like I was way undercharging because there's no way you should ever convert 50% of a room. I mean, maybe, but that's a good indication that your prices are too low. So anyways, but this was one of those moments where I just realized, wow, the power of like leverage, the power of being able to communicate to a room. And yeah, this is something that I really love doing and that I kind of got away from for a bit as I like transitioned online and am inspired, or newly inspired about being able to teach this and stuff that I've learned over the last, geez, it's like 15 years ago since that event. And so you can imagine I got a couple things that we've learned. One of which is this. So if you think about your business, let me open up this chat and just get present to what people are doing here. So we've got weight loss for food cravings, beautiful, work with health professionals, therapists from burnout, emotional health coach, helping professionals out of overwhelm, awesome, registered nurse and nurse coach, yeah, I love that. What do we got? Running, yeah, and then we got breathwork facilitator. Hey, Shannon. Okay, and then we got some generators in the house. Beautiful. So, whatever it is that you do as a coach and who you're trying to work with and serve, there is a this process of how do you take a stranger, like somebody who does not know you at all, to being enrolled and becoming a client of yours, right? And there's this journey of you'll notice if you hang around me, I like rhyming things and alliteration and playing with words. So cold to sold is the best that we could come up with here. But how do you move somebody from like a total stranger into a raving fan and client? And the ingredient in the middle here is influence. What's required is influence. And so if we start to kind of like unpack, well, what is influence? And like really simply, influence happens when somebody knows, likes, and trusts you, right? Like really simply. And you might be wondering what all these are over here. So part of what we do and what we teach is helping people with content and creating content. And we've got, our program is called the Avocado Method, and it has a whole bunch of different use cases, but it is also like 7 different types of content that you might create to grow your audience and for social media. And so there are authority types of posts, there's validation posts, opener posts, challenge posts, authenticity posts, DM me posts, and outsourced posts. The ones that matter the most in terms of building your influence are authority posts, authenticity, and challenge or character posts. When you are, and this is why, as a case for doing mini workshops is you kind of get everything all in one, right? Think about it. If you are doing a workshop, you are teaching something. You're an expert. So you're teaching, you get authority because you are the authority, right? Authenticity. You guys are going to spend, 30 minutes, 40, maybe an hour with me today, and you're going to hear things about me that you've never heard before. Like maybe that Bob Proctor story, you might hear just like the way I talk, or, it's authentic. There's no, I'm not editing this. It's live, it's authentic. And you might like me or you might really not like me, but that's okay. You get my authentic self, right? And then there is the challenges that you run up with or that people run up with. And part of this training is to help you overcome those challenges when it comes to creating mini workshops or filling your calendar or creating a more leveraged business, right? And as I get to teach you these things, you may know me a little bit more, like me a little bit more, trust me a little bit more. I may have more rapport and influence with you, which might invite you to hop on a call and explore what it might be like to work with us, right? And so in the same way, we do what we teach. This is kind of like a bit of a meta example, right? We're literally doing it right now and teaching you what we're doing. But this is in terms of content that you could create. This one is kind of like a king because you get authority, authenticity. People get to experience authority, authenticity, and your character. But developing workshops, developing trainings is not, without its problems. There are challenges to creating this. And I'm curious, would love to know in the chat, what are some of the problems that come up for you around creating workshops? Maybe you've created workshops in the past, or you're thinking about creating workshops and you haven't yet. But like, what gets in the way? What is in the way of you having a really successful workshop? What are some of the problems that come up for you? Let's just take a toll from the community before we dive in here. Mike, what's up? Good to see you. Kyle's in here, Diana. Okay. Jennifer says, perfectionism. Sometimes my thoughts about design, hesitations to be on camera. Totally. Yep. Getting enough people to register, right? Yep. What else? What else gets in the way of you doing what? If you've done them before, what were some of the challenges? If you haven't done them before, what's stopping you? Focusing in on one idea, concept, result, yep, to deliver on, great. Lack of confidence, right. Okay, beautiful. The tech flow marketing that clearly speaks to my audience, yep. Shannon, I can create workshops for what I do. I'd like to be better at creating a mini workshop to drive more people to my other workshops, yeah, and one-to-one. Fear of what people might want to learn or know, yes, great. Creating content that smoothly leads to offer. Oh, you guys are too great. Cool. Well, it seems as though we're kind of all on the same page here because these problems are, these are the problems, right? Of creating mini workshops and what gets in the way. And so the ones that I had, it sounds like we might be on the same page, is like, oh, I don't know what to create, right? How do I create a piece of content that leads to the offer? Or how do I pick one thing that is valuable, right? What if nobody shows up, right? If we end up with an event like this guy. This is hilarious. When I found this slide, it reminded me of this one time I did an event. I was in Vancouver and it was like a financial planning event. Literally nobody came except for one lady with purple hair. And she was like, it was by accident. She just showed up. She had like bright purple hair. And she's like, is this? I'm like, no, I'm doing an event on financial planning. And she sat down like this guy. And I did a whole presentation to one lady. She did not become a client, but I got to practice. So it was good. But yeah, that's a fear, right? What if you put on an event and nobody shows up? Fear of public speaking, or I think somebody mentioned like lack of confidence, right? And being able to share your thing. So these are some of the problems. If you think about, so what's the probable, almost certain future if, you don't know what to create, you're afraid that nobody will show up and you're kind of lacking confidence in your delivery. And also like, I don't know how to transition to the pitch. That's also like, that's definitely a sticking point, right? Oh, I'm good to give away all my free stuff. But then if it comes to asking for something or inviting people to take the next step, right? Oh, I get all weird about it. So if those are the issues, the likely future is you'll probably avoid doing mini workshops, or you'll procrastinate forever on them and remain stuck in your business or stuck without, a leveraged way of growing. And so we don't want that for you. This is what we do not want for you. What we want instead is we want to give you some tools to unleash your creativity so that you know exactly what to create and how to create it. We want you to be able to draw in an engaged audience, right? All of you today engaged in the comments. We've got some people with cameras on. It's beautiful. And we want to give you some frameworks to be confident in your ability to deliver. And at the end, be able to transition to make an easy yes offer where it's just like, oh, yeah, I would like that. That sounds good. right? And if we can do that, if this is the intent of this training, right? If we can do these things, give you some tools to unlock your creativity, find your audience and invite them and get them to show up, give you a framework to deliver in a confident way, and show you how to easily invite people to take the next step. The probable future for you will then be you'll have more authority, you'll be able to get more appointments, and you'll be able to grow your business faster. Yeah? Does that make sense? So this is what we're talking, this is the what, right? This is what we're talking about. And what we're going to get into is we'll get into like how we do this, and a big piece of this as well. Has anybody, I think somebody wrote it, but has anybody like over analyzes, or I think Jennifer wrote like perfectionism is just like, this workshop has got to be like the best thing ever, and you spend days, weeks, maybe months and never actually even launch it. Has anybody ever done that? Because I'll tell you this, I created this in about 45 minutes for our clients. And I haven't practiced this or rehearsed this. Okay. So we literally just we whipped it up. I did not spend hours and weeks doing this, but it's because there's like some frameworks that we use. But yeah, Laura, thanks for, hey, what's up, Laura? Just checking chat. So we also just want this to be easy. So that's the idea behind like a mini workshop, right? Keeping it mini, keeping it simple. And also packed with value, right? So if we talk about the what, so now let's start breaking it apart, right? What is this mini workshop, and what does it consist of? Oh, and I see Vanita with a hand up. Yes, a little yellow hand. Okay, actually, before if you want to unmute Vanita, you can. And if you have a question, because before I dive into the next thing, I think this is actually like a good spot if you have questions. So okay, Vanita, if you want.
Really stupid kind of a question, but it's beyond midnight over here, 12:35.
Yeah.
I really don't, I'm not taking notes. I just wanted to ask, will you be providing the PDF, or should I actually start taking notes?
Great question. This is going to be uploaded in our community. So if you are inside of our Rebel Practitioner School community, you'll be able to get the recording and this PDF. So you rest your eyes. Thank you for showing up here at midnight. I love it. It's awesome. Also, okay, like on that note, I'm just, if maybe Alexander, if you could, just because there might be some people here who are not yet in our community, and this is actually big. Like, I really believe that the future, like to be successful online in the coming years, is going to come down to who can build great communities, authentic communities online. If you can do this, I think that this is the number one thing that will, distinguish the people who thrive over the next coming years and those who continue to struggle. Is like this ability to build community, and so, and also doing it that in a way that's not on social media, that's not on Facebook and Instagram, and in these, because these programs are great, and they also, there's lots of negative implications of being on social media all the time. And so if you can build a community that is off of these social media platforms, it is harder. It's harder to do. And it's not something to do like right out of the gate. But I do believe that if you can do it and you can do it well, you will win. That's I really believe that. And so if you're not yet in our community, we've got, I think Alexander just dropped it there. This is where the replay will go. And would love to see you in there. It's amazing. We had 100 new people joined last week. I recognize some of the faces here, so really great to see y'all. Okay, cool. If there's no other questions, I'll just kind of shift gears and get into unpacking like what are the 4 pieces then? So if you're going to do these mini workshops, then what do you need to do for this? And there's the first thing is, I would say, you kind of have to plan it, right? Like plan out what it is you're going to talk about and like what are you going to say, and then you got to promote it, right? You got to be able to like get people there. And then you've got to present, right? You got to present it. And then you got to be able to pitch something at the end, right? You've got the attention of a group of people. You're providing a ton of value. And it would be silly not to have an offer at the end of that. So shocking news, everybody. I'm probably going to have an offer for y'all at the end of this workshop. I hope that's okay with you, right? Again, it's like we just do what we teach. But these are the 4 pieces. Okay, so let's unpack these. Let's talk about the 4 big ideas of how to run these mini workshops. And I probably should have changed the word ideas. I think a better word for this is the 4 big archetypes, because there's actually kind of 4 different archetypes that you need to embody or channel in order to do this well. And so if we started to unpack that, the first one, if I was to invite you to channel a particular archetype, it would be the artist, or to be creative. For me, doing trainings, doing workshops like that, like, this is my art. I love this. I love being able to create things. And so being able to channel the artist is a beautiful part of this designing mini workshops, right? Have this be your art. The next archetype is the promoter, okay? Also, we probably all have some, like, we really love some of these archetypes. We might resist other archetypes. Does anybody here resist the archetype of promoting, self-promoting? Does anybody get weird about that? Yeah, right? Totally. So, yeah, the attractor, that's definitely, you can, there's a million different archetypes. So you choose the ones that work for you. Promoter is definitely like to embody that. And to be unapologetic about promoting your stuff is actually such a powerful, it's not easy for a lot of people, but if you can sink into that archetype, that will move you. It will move mountains, because you're kind of unleashed inside of that energy where you're like, yo, I'm doing this thing. You got to get your butt over here. This is going to be good for you. Like, come on, let's go. Right. There's a particular energy. Then there's the performer, right? Being able to actually present and perform your thing. I like to think, if you're an artist, right, and you think about that, you're practicing, you're making up your song, and then you go to an open mic. When you go to present, this is your open mic. So like, lights, camera, action, get ready, right? Perform. And then lastly is like the usher, right? And this is the one who like kind of guides you to your seats, but also like guides you to the next steps and is just like guiding you along the way. And these 4 archetypes, if you did nothing else but just kind of understood that these are 4 different energies, 4 different parts of building these mini workshops, and if you could embody each of these, then you'll be able to do this a lot easier. Sometimes we get stuck. Is anybody like, I feel like our people are often like therapists, they're into personal development, they are doing the self-work, they are kind of like, they're well along the way. And so if I say things like shadow work or depth psychology or archetypes, that people in our space typically get that, but not always. So we're gonna pause in case anybody has any questions around archetypes, energies. This is a beautiful thing, and there's a whole lot of freedom if you start to play with archetypes, you start to understand archetypes, you start to realize like you're actually, you have choice. in terms of like the way that you show up. You are an infinite being capable of showing up in innumerable different ways when you get to choose that. And there's so much freedom inside of that will, if you understand that concept and you can embody these different archetypes, it's like you get to be a superhuman when you're growing your business. Sometimes you need to be more masculine and get shit done. Sometimes you need to be more feminine and in the flow, right? Sometimes you need to be relational. Sometimes you need to be a badass. So if you can switch between them and you realize like, oh, I'm free to be all of these different ways, oh, you are a dangerous entrepreneur in the best way. Okay, so those are the big ideas. And now if we were just going to unpack, how do we actually do this, right? So and basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you some tools, okay? I'm going to give you some tools. My intention here is to empower you to be able to take action at the end of this and just go do it and not worry about it being, perfect, not taking months to create this thing. And at the end, we're going to make an offer to help you do that even faster. But let's unpack how you might go about doing this. Oh, Alexander, yeah.
Yeah, just a little sticky note. You'll probably cover this in some aspect, but Isabel was asking, how do you know how much information you provide for free before you go into that charging space?
Perfect. Such a good question. Such a good question. Yes, I'm most definitely going to answer that question. But as a like overarching answer to that question, give it all away. Give it away. Give away all the goods. Because here's the thing. It's like we think that the value is in the information that we somehow have. Hate to break it to y'all. We live in the information age. Anybody could find this thing. Most of the information can be found. And people aren't paying for the information. Whatever it is you do, people are paying for the particular way that you've organized it. People are paying for your presence. People are paying for your accountability. People are paying for your community. People are paying for time. People are paying for the time that you're going to save them. If nothing else, just think about it that way. People are going to pay you for the time that you save because you've already gone through the hard work of organizing all of that information. And so give it away. Because like, what's the alternative? Give away your crappy stuff? Like, then whoever's giving away better stuff for free is gonna get the client, right? So so give it away. and understanding, I say that a little facetiously. It's like, but in order to do that, you got to understand like what people are actually paying you for. And so, I will have that be a little bit more clear. So first, let's talk about the artist. Okay. Now, something that I've realized as a, and I'm still learning and I'm super noob at this, but I like the distinction that I recently discovered as a manifesting generator, is that I work best when I have something to work from. I don't work that well if I have to create it totally from like a blank sheet of paper. I love a blank sheet of paper, but I get stuck on it. And I work really well with frameworks, or somebody starting an idea for me, and then I'll like take that thing and I'll blow it up into something really cool. And so when it comes to creating these workshops, there's like a blend, right, of being artistic or like having some structure, right? You got to have like some structure, and then you got to like have some flair. And so I'm going to give you some pieces, some frameworks for the structure, and then you got to add your own flair and your own artistry. Okay, does that make sense? Now with me on that part. So what are the structures that I use? And I'm let me get my head out of the way here for a quick minute. Help me. Okay. So this is actually a framework that I kind of like recreated, but it's from a guy named Matt Church. He's from Australia, and he teaches thought leadership. And this is a take on his framework, which is like, he calls them pink sheets. And whenever I want to come up with an idea for a training, I will do this. And I basically start in the middle and I say, what's the point? What's the point? What am I trying to do here? And then I'll think about, if I had to put it in a bumper sticker, like if I had to take this point and put it into a bumper sticker, how would I write it? And then if I expanded on that and I said, okay, now if I did it into one sentence, this is what, this workshop is about. And then once I have the point, I zoom out and I think about, what's the bigger picture? What's the context of this? Why did anybody care about this, right? What's the bigger context? And then understanding that people think better, learn better with models and like images and shapes. So what shapes, models, and can I use? And metaphors, right? What metaphors can I use to talk about this thing, the points that I want to make? And then down at the bottom, then I come up with the content. What are the facts about this thing that I want to teach? And is there a story? So I'm telling you, we literally just teach what we do. So here's the sheet for this workshop. Before this was a workshop, it took me 45 minutes to put together. Bumper sticker, conversion content. That's what I wanted to talk about. One sentence, winning workshops. Models, well, you already saw my model, the 4 pieces of the creating a winning workshop. Metaphors, perform your art, be a rock star. Facts, attention is the new currency. Right now you're all here paying attention. Thank you. That is not lost on me. Such a gift. So appreciate you spending your attention with me. And a story, Bob Proctor, right? So you can see, there it is. Then the next piece, if I was going to unpack it and start to put some like meat behind those ideas, this is the next framework that I would use. And I'll just show you. I talk about why this is important, what it is I want to talk about, how you would do it, and what do you got to do now? And so the way I do these is I start here. The topic, creating conversion content, the title, winning workshops, and the promise, help you create world-class trainings. Oh yes, you can have these sheets if you're in our community. If you are in our community, you get all this good stuff. Right, and then I come up here and I go, I talk about the why. So why is this important? And you won't be able to read my writing probably, but it's like, it builds trust, you get enrollment, influence, authority. Here's some ideas, right? What's the hook? Micro workshops that convert. What's the metaphor? And you come down here. If I had to unpack, what are the 3 big pieces that I want to teach about? Planning, promoting, presenting. There's like a piece for transformations. Again, not everything that I put on these sheets make it in, right? It's like, what are the transformations I want to cause in here? I want to help people go from dreaming to being an artist, from being a pylon to a promoter. That idea didn't quite make it in. Being a presenter to a performer. What are the tools? What are the steps on how to do it? Action, just do it. Okay, so here's this starts to give me the framework of what it is I want to teach. And it might look a little bit overwhelming, but really simply, it's, can you answer these 4 questions? Why is this important? What do you got to do? How do you do it? And what do you do now? And then there's one last sheet. If you want to go, you could just do it with that. But this is another little sheet of just getting into understanding it a little bit better. And this is where the actual content starts to come together, right? The winning workshop, the frustrations that people have with this, no time, no shows. I don't even know what that says. No something. No consciousness, no customers, no conversions, no conversions. And then wants, what are the things that people want, right? They want to be a thought leader. They want an engaged audience. They want new clients. What are the mistakes that people make around this, right? What's the big idea? Have it be your open mic. The model, we're talking about archetypes, right? And then there's the worksheets, which is the PDFs that I've created around this. And remember, quantity creates quality. This was just, this is the only, it didn't make it into any of my slides, but this is just very true. So you want to get better at this? Just do them. Do a lot of them. Practice them. The more you do them, don't worry about it being perfect, right? Just do them. Make mistakes, learn, and then get better. The more you do, the better it gets. Okay. So that's the first piece, right? Is like, here's some structure for how to structure a quick talk, right? This takes me about 10 minutes because just like to put the ideas down, give it a little structure, and then you're like, oh, okay, I know what I'm talking about. I know, the gist. When you have this, by the way, you don't need, if you've ever tried to like do scripting your workshop or like, oh, I got to memorize this part really well. Like it kind of removes all that. You don't, you're an expert in what you're trying to teach anyway. You already know this stuff. And if you put the right structure around it, that you're just teaching why, what, how, and now, then let that guide you, right? And then just let it rip. I didn't practice this today. I've not practiced any of this. So that's the first part, right? Is being an artist, creating your craft. Have a little structure and then make it your own, right? The next is promoting, okay? And maybe just before I go into, actually, let me just be mindful of time. Yeah, okay, I'm actually gonna keep going. And then, but if you have questions, still wanna be mindful of your time. I wanna get wrapped up. It might be 5 minutes later than we said, so an hour and 5 minutes. But if you have questions as we're going through, just let them rip in the chat. And so then the next piece is the promoter. Now, I get the not wanting to self-promote and not wanting to promote yourself or your offerings, but it's such an important piece and people actually do want to hear about it. And so I found this to be a really helpful framework. And by the way, like this is all that I did that had you guys show up here as well. I did an email, I did one post, I did a Facebook group post, but I pretty much said the same thing. And this is a framework for a post so that you can take this and use this yourself. And pretty much we would call this like a hype post if there was, a lingo for it. It's like, bringing some hype to an event that you're doing. And it basically consists of 3 things, which is what's the hook, right? If you're going to spend time on creating a piece of content, like a promotional piece of content, most of your time should be on the hook. Because if you have a bad hook, the rest doesn't matter. Do you know what is the hardest type of post to do well? Are those like little, who wants my little free PDF thing that you probably see all the time, like comment below that you've probably seen. Those are actually, you can change a few words and it can make all the difference. Basically, those posts are basically just the hook, right? They're just hook posts, value posts. But people who are really good at organic marketing spend a lot of time on the hooks. Copywriters will spend 80% of their time on headlines. So this is but this is the framework, right? A hook. What are the benefits of them attending? And what's the call to action? So nothing crazy, right? You're not like being the, crazy promoter, club promoter, handing out cards on the streets or something like that. You're just like doing a post, you're sharing your thing, and you're using a framework like this. Hook, here's the benefits of showing up, and here's what you need to do to attend. Okay? That's it for the promoter. I'm not going to go into like too much around that. The next is the performer, right? And the performer is really just I have this little framework, and I'm just going to skim through it. And like I said, you guys are going to get access to all of these, like the PDF. But when you think about what are the pieces that need to be in your presentation? This is a really simple framework for how to structure things. So the first thing is like having some authority about like who you are, what you do, right? The next is like showing people that the thing that you're teaching them actually works, like backing it up with either client testimonials or like some stats, like, or whatever it is that you're teaching them, showing them that it's worthwhile for them to stick around, that whatever you're teaching is validated either by yourself or by somebody else, right? And then you're opening up the conversation and like leading them into the next, like what this workshop is about. Then you're going to bring up the challenges that they'll inevitably face in trying to deal with, whatever you're teaching around. You're going to give them the answers to those challenges. You're going to have a call to action, and then you're going to peace out. As a simple framework for like doing these, you can use this when you go live. You can do this in a post content. You can do this in your workshops. But when you're doing authority type of posts, this is a good framework where it's like authority, validate, open up, bring the challenges forth, answer the challenges, have a call to action, and sign off. Okay, that's like a little framework for doing these. This is just like an example. So when you create a presentation, one of the things that will help you promote it is like if you can create worksheets, and I just go in Canva. Okay, Canva, just literally type in template, get the template, and put some graphics behind it. Doesn't need to be too crazy. And if you can create a little, yeah, that's it. Like, so for presentations, that's what I'll kind of, oh, yep, see you, Jennifer. Say around that. Now, the next piece is the usher, right? So what happens when you get towards the end of the presentation? You gotta do that little awkward dance around like, okay, hopefully you got some value here. Do you wanna take the next step in working with me? All that stuff, right? Before I share this last piece, and that's it for today, so it'll be about 5 minutes. Just curious, in the chat, what are you getting out of this conversation so far? Insights, what are you liking? What are you learning? What are you taking away? What do you want to implement? What's coming up for you? What's useful so far? Yeah, nice. Keep it simple. Give all the value you can, and just do it. Yeah, totally. Follow a proven structure. Yeah, nice. I did. I built it on Canva in about 10 minutes. Like you notice that all of my slides are literally one picture and one word. Like I do not have a lot. That's it. It's one picture and one word. And these are the things I'm going to talk about. This took 5 minutes to make, right? What takes a little bit more time is this stuff, right? It's like what's underneath, but I'm an expert in this. I've been doing this for a long time. You're an expert in what you're talking about. You don't need a whole bunch of, you need, what's the idea? And then you just talk about the idea. Being unapologetic about promoting. Yeah, not forgetting the call to action at the end and adding a lot of value, give it away, create the influence. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, cool. So the last piece is the usher. And here's the caveat to doing mini workshops, is that what actually makes these work and makes this really easy is when you have got your offer dialed in such a way, when you are clear about like what it is you actually do and how you do it and the pieces that it consists of, then creating workshops is really easy. And also you're able to have alignment in the workshops that you're doing instead of I used to do this. I just like create a random workshop. Like, oh, I should do this kind of workshop. But it didn't connect to my main program. Or I've led meditation, workshops, which is good for connecting with people. It wasn't great for actually getting people to hop on a call with me because it was disconnected from what my core offer is. Even though we teach meditation and we do meditation in our programs, it's like it was missing context. And so when you create any type of content, it has to have context to what it is you're actually doing. People say content is king. Content is not king. Context is king. I've just given a whole bunch of content. What I'm going to show you now is context, because you're probably wondering, where does a winning workshop fit inside of your business? Because there's a whole lots of different pieces to your business, right? But where does a winning workshop fit inside of the bigger picture of your entire business? So this is where, for me and the context and what it is we do, this is what we do with our clients every single day. We help them with 3 main things. And usually it's because there's 3 things that are challenged by. Their offer, the way that their offer is structured, is not designed ideally. They can't get enough leads to grow their business, and they don't have the right systems or I say sales skills, but it's like really like entrepreneurial mindset. We have a lot of experts who are experts in their field. They're not necessarily experts in business. And so these are the 3 challenges that plague them. And so what we do is we help them to clarify their offer, create better systems, and convert more sales so that they can have more meaning, freedom, and money. Where is winning? Where is the winning workshops inside of this? Well, around the edges of our program, you'll see that there's these little dots. And these are the 9 little projects that we help our clients with, so that when they have these in place, they've got a business that actually works. So when it comes to clarifying their offer, we help them establish their authority and position them the right way. The next is we help them validate their offer. We usually help them raise their rates and design it and structure their program in a more leveraged way. And then we help them validate that new offer. And then lastly in here is we help them develop openers, which are lead magnets, another term for that, and a way of opening the door to chat with people. This part of that is winning workshops. So what you're seeing today is one piece of a bigger solution, right? Winning workshops becomes easy because I'm able to take one piece of our main program, something that we teach our clients. By the way, I designed this for our clients, but then I break that piece off and I give it away for free. I'm able to teach about it, and then I'm able to bring context in terms of like where this fits, right? And so when you have your offer designed really well, you're able to do workshops, no problem. And when you can do workshops, no problem, you have a great lead magnet. Then the other pieces are like, how do you create content? We've got a whole content strategy. How do you build community, systems around that? And then what automations do you need? And then when it comes to sales, sales happen in DMs. We teach you organic and outbound traffic, outbound, and sales. So these are 9 different little projects that we do that we help our clients with. Winning workshops is one of them. And when you have the offer dialed in and you have a system behind it and you understand how to sell, then you can see where winning workshops will be really great for you. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? So you can imagine this for your program. If you help people in your program, you typically help them go from A to B. Doesn't matter like what you offer or what you're selling, you're helping people go through a transition, go through a transformation, right? We help people go from offline to online. We help people trade their time for money to creating transformational offers. So if you understand your offer, everything else kind of becomes easy. So with that in mind, I'll give you an example now of like, well, how would I usher? What's the offer then at the end of this? Very simple. This is what it is. because the intention of our this workshop was to help you create a winning workshop. The piece that will be the most useful is around like just shaping the outline of it and getting like maybe a name around it and figuring out like what is it that you actually want to talk about, and make sure that it connects to what your bigger offer is. So here's the offer. If you would like our help, Alexander's or mine, to hop on a free 15-minute call and just have a conversation about how to frame your workshop, we would happily hop on that call with you and help you get a name, put a little structure behind it, and give you just like some insights around how to get it launched. You can leave your credit cards at home. This is totally free. This is, if you want some free coaching, we would be happy to do that. So if anybody's interested in that, you can actually, Alexander, if you want to drop the, you can drop our link, or you can just say, yeah, interested, would like some free help. Then we'd be happy to do that. And what is there to do now? So the last things, like if you think about what are the steps and how do you create these workshops? Like I said, quality, literally working on a workshop for Friday, do some help. Perfect. Yeah, Alexander can touch base with Laura. Also, like I'll just maybe put a little bit more of a frame so that you understand like what it is, why we do this. For us, generosity is literally our growth strategy. So we really believe that if we focus on building community and we give and we help people win before they become clients, that a percentage of them will become clients. So that's why we do it. Okay. And so if you want some help, then we'd love to help. And if not, that's all good as well. What there is next for you to do is like, here's a little cheat sheet for how to structure this and how to think about it. I didn't really talk about that. So do this, create your outline, create your slides on Canva, create a couple hype posts, which you now have the frameworks for. Present your offer live and do it a few times. This is the third time, like we created this for our clients. We've done this a couple times now. We're getting it better. This one is recorded. It will now be repurposed and people will be able to watch it on their own time, which is kind of cool, right? You create one piece of content, it has multi-use, and then follow up and enroll people in whatever the next step is for you.